Yes, you are live.
Good morning. Today is April 8th, 2021. It's 9:30, and I now call to order the joint meeting of the Board of Directors of the San Joaquin Hills Transportation Corridor Agency and the Foothill Eastern Transportation Corridor Agency. I will ask the following directors to lead us. Director Reynolds will lead us in the invocation, followed by Director Connors will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Director Reynolds? Is she there? Okay, she is not here, so please stand with me and I will lead us in the invocation. Our Father, we thank you and praise you for the wonderful communities that we live in here in Orange County. We do come to you and ask for your hand of guidance upon us as we make important decisions for our region. We ask that you would continue to bless our region, keep our drivers and our roads safe, and bless and protect those first responders who are constantly watching out for us. In your name we pray. Amen. And Director Connors, with Pledge of Allegiance.
In gratitude for the healing that is crossing our nation, let's pledge allegiance to the flag. Face whatever flag you can see. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. And now I will ask our clerk to please call the roll.
Good morning, Madam Chair and Honorable Directors. Kaylee Doolittle, Interim Clerk of the Board. I will now proceed with the roll call. Vice Chair Will O'Neill.
Here.
Director Connors.
Here.
Director Hess.
Here.
Director Hurt.
Here.
Director James.
Here.
Director Minigar.
Present.
Director Reynolds.
Here.
Director Victoric.
Here.
Chair Wong. Here. Vice Chair Miller.
Here.
Director Beal.
Here.
Director Chafee. Director Lombard.
Here.
Director Murphy.
Here.
Director Trevor O'Neill.
Here.
Director Voigt. Director Ward.
Here.
Chair Kelly.
Here.
Director Bartlett.
Here.
Director Khan.
Here.
Director Penaloza.
Here.
Director Taylor.
Here.
Director Wagner.
Here.
Alternate Heddick.
I'm here.
Looping back, Director Chafee. Director Voigt. Madam Chair, noting the absence of Director Chafee and Director Voigt, we have quorum on both boards.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, do we have any public comments that we've received?
Thank you, Madam Chair. At this time, I'd like to remind everyone during live public broadcasting, members of the public may address the joint boards of directors regarding any items within the subject matter jurisdiction of the joint boards of directors, but no action may be taken on off-agenda items unless authorized by law. Comments shall be limited to 3 minutes per person and 20 minutes for all comments, unless the chair, subject to the approval of the boards of directors, set different time limits. Madam Chair, we did receive one public comment. That public comment is from Jay Doe, and I will begin now. To the TCA Board of Directors and everyone who is listening, I started following the TCA and the toll roads years ago due to an issue that has been resolved. Everyone listening, take whatever Michelle Schumacher and the cronies in her cesspool say about TCA with a grain of salt. They are being advised by Harley Englander's PR firm. Look him up and you'll learn about how he uses PR to take down big brands and organizations. The city of San Clemente just renewed another contract with him for hundreds of thousands of dollars. Look it up. His number one job is to take down the TCA. Michelle Schumacher is his puppet. While the TCA Board of Directors will the TCA Boards of Directors ever fact-check public comments? Nearly everything Michelle Schumacher and her cronies say and write is PR spin. Just enough facts to barely qualify as factual. She always points out how much TCA spends on PR, but she and San Clemente are the only ones with a PR firm now, and they are paying a pretty penny. On Facebook, Michelle Schumacher posts old news stories, old videos, old receipts, old everything. She purposely misleads people to believe her old lies are new truths. She also purposefully spreads lies and passes them off as facts. And the San Clemente reps on the TCA board just let it happen. Kathy Ward and Jean James fan the flame, and Harvey Englander and Michelle Schumacher dance around it. Sincerely, Jay Doe, into public comments.
Thank you, Madam Clerk.
Madam Chair, this is Director Ward. I'm sorry, point of order. This exact email has been read at the last 3 meetings. Can TCA please send to the board proof that that email was sent each and every time to be read at our last 3 meetings? I understand the first time, but the second meeting is peculiar, and this one's even more peculiar. I would like to see proof that that email was sent in for a comment today. Thank you.
And thank you, Director Ward. I'll ask Mr. Johnson to comment.
Yeah, Madam Chair, if a board member would like to see a copy of the public comment submitted, I can circle with council, but I think we can do that. But rest assured to all board members, staff only read public comments as they are submitted. I do know Director Ward's comment that it sounds very similar to what's been submitted before, but that's not a filtering process that TCA staff does. So if someone's submitting the same comment over and over, that's beyond our control. We just comply with the Brown.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Our first item here now is the San Joaquin Hills consent calendar. This includes items 1, 3 through 4, and 6 through 8. Do any members wish to pull or discuss any of these items? This is San Joaquin Hills. And please use your raised hand, and it is Supervisor Wagner. Go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would like to pull item 6 for a brief comment. I won't need a staff report, but there's really good news here to highlight.
Okay, Director Wagner has pulled item 6. Any directors?
I would like to pull the
items?
minutes of the last meeting where it said that I recused myself on a vote. In fact, I abstained. But we can have that correction.
Okay, so we will pull item number 1 and item number 6. Any other directors wish to pull any item? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent calendar.
Moved by Heft.
Second by Connors.
Motion by Director Heft and a second by Director Connors. And I will now ask the clerk to do a roll call vote.
Chair Kelly,
Yes.
Vice Chair Will O'Neill,
Yes.
Director Bartlett,
Yes.
Director Connors,
Yes.
Director Heft,
Aye.
Director Hurt,
Yes.
Director James,
All right.
Director Khan,
Yes.
Director Minigar,
Aye.
Director Penaloza,
Yes.
Director Reynolds,
Yes.
Director Taylor,
Yes.
Director Vic Sorick,
Aye.
Aye.
Madam Chair, the item passes unanimously.
Thank you. We'll now go back to item number 1, and Director James.
Yes, in regards to the vote on 76761, I abstained. The record reflects that I recused myself.
And Director James, this is Senator Johnson. I am noting what you're citing, and we will have that corrected for you as well as Director Ward for Foothill. You are correct. We have a typo there. It should say abstain for both of you.
Thank you very much.
This is on vote for the rest of the board. This is on vote number 2, which was part of item 10 from the last board meeting.
Okay, so I will entertain a motion to approve the minutes as corrected.
So moved.
There's a motion.
Second by Connors.
A motion by Director James, a second by Director Connors. And Madam Clerk, please do a roll call vote for us, please.
Chair Kelly,
Yes.
Vice Chair Will O'Neill,
Yes.
Director Bartlett,
Yes.
Director Connors,
Yes.
Director Hess,
Aye.
Director Hurd,
Yes.
Director James,
Aye.
Director Khan,
Yes.
Director Minigar,
Aye.
Director Penaloza,
Yes.
Director Reynolds,
Yes.
Director Taylor,
Yes.
Director Vic-Sorick,
Aye.
Director Wagner.
Aye.
Madam Chair, the item passes unanimously.
Thank you. And we also have item number 6, which was pulled by Supervisor Wagner. And Supervisor, you said you do not need a report, but you would like to make a comment. Please go ahead.
I don't need thank you, Madam Chair. No, I don't need a report. I just wanted to highlight something. This is a 3-year extension on a contract for some folks who served us very well. And my typical question in these circumstances is, well, why not just a 1 year so that we can kind of keep pressure on, keep making sure that they're evaluating things properly, doing the job we want? And staff's response to me, and I think it's important the public know that the reason for this is I've been told we're receiving up to a 40% better price or rate for these services if we're willing to extend it out 3 years. Since they've been doing a good job, I'll take those 40% savings of tax dollars anytime. And I wanted to make sure the public knew about it and that I had an opportunity to thank staff for prudent fiscal management on this item. And with that, I'm happy to move the item.
Thank you, Supervisor Wagner. And is there a second?
Second, Taylor.
Direct-
It's still selling.
And this is San Joaquin Hills, and so it was Director Taylor that made the second. And Supervisor Wagner, thank you for highlighting that. That is indeed good news, a 40% savings. And I will now ask the Madam Clerk to please call the roll for San Joaquin Hills.
Chair Kelly,
Yes.
Vice Chair Will O'Neill,
Yes.
Director Bartlett,
Yes.
Director Connors,
Yes.
Director Hess,
Aye.
Director Hurd,
Yes.
Director James,
Aye.
Director Khan,
Yes.
Director Minigar,
Aye.
Director Penaloza,
Yes.
Director Reynolds,
Yes.
Director Taylor,
Yes.
Director Vic-Sorick,
Aye.
Director Wagner.
Aye.
Madam Chair, the item passes unanimously.
Thank you, and that concludes the consent calendar for the San Joaquin Hills. We now turn to the consent calendar for the Foothill Eastern, which includes items number 1 through 3 and 5 through 8. We will pull item number 1 so that we may approve those minutes as corrected. Are there any other items to be pulled, directors?
Madam Clerk, this is Director Ward. I would also pull item 2 and 3.
Item 2 and 3 are pulled.
Madam Chair, this is Wagner. I'm not going to pull 6, but if the record could reflect the same great work by staff, I would appreciate it.
Yes, thank you. Do any other directors have any items to pull from the consent calendar? And hearing
Move the balance, Murphy.
Second, by Director Ward.
motion by Director Murphy, second by Director Ward. And Madam Clerk, please take a roll call vote.
Chair Wong,
Yes.
Vice Chair Miller, Director Bartlett,
Yes.
Director Beal,
Yes.
Director Chafee,
Aye.
Director Kelly,
Yes.
Director Khan,
Yes.
Director Lombard,
Yes.
Director Murphy,
Yes.
Director Trevor O'Neill,
Yes.
Director Penaloza,
Yes.
Director Taylor,
Yes.
Director Voigt, Director Wagner,
Aye.
Director Ward.
Aye.
Looping back, Director Voigt. Madam Chair, noting the absence of Director Voigt, the balance moves unanimously.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. And on item number 1, approval of the minutes, I will move approval of the minutes as corrected per the previous comments made on the San Joaquin Hills minute.
Madam Chair, can I just step in, just a quick item on that? I do appreciate Samuel Johnson saying to change my vote on the number 2 vote on item 1. But what I want to point out is there's the order of the agenda of the minutes is incorrect. The number 2, the approval of the minutes for the special meeting, that should be number 1. And then the second minutes that occurred after that meeting should be number 2. So that's why I pulled 1 and 2. They're out of order. The special meeting occurred at 9:02 a.m. and the joint meeting of the boards occurred at 9:32. So the minutes of the special meeting should come first.
I don't think the order of the agenda has to be tied to a date of the meeting.
Right.
No.
Director Ward, I don't think that the order of the meetings need to be reflected in the order on the agenda. We're simply approving the minutes.
I agree, but if you're reflecting what the board did, what the Foothill Eastern did, they met first in a special meeting, then they met for the joint meeting. I think it does not reflect what happened that morning, and I think it is important. I think procedurally it's wrong.
I'm going to ask our general counsel to weigh in, please.
Each of the items is, in essence, a self-contained approval of the minutes for that particular meeting. So item 1 indicates that the board meeting commenced at 9:32 a.m. and reflects the proceedings before that board. Item 2 in our agenda today reflects that the special meeting commenced at 9:02 a.m. So as long as those times are accurately reflected in each of the approval items, the order in which they appear on this agenda does not impact the appropriateness of approving them as presented.
I understand the appropriateness. I just think it doesn't reflect the order in which the board met. And I don't understand why it's so hard to move number 2 to number 1 and 1 to 2 if we're going to be modifying the minutes anyway. That's my thing. I know it doesn't affect voting on them, but it just doesn't reflect what the board did that morning. It's as simple as that.
Director Ward, could we take that as a recommendation on moving forward? Because I'd like staff to be able to consider that, because if we want to follow that logic, then even the way we do our committee reports, it adds a level of complication that staff needs to think through.
Okay. Well, I just think minutes show what actions or what we did or where we were at the time. I don't think it was intentional to move it. I'm not saying anything like that. I just think staff didn't think about it, and it makes more sense to have it occur first. So that's my comment on that. Let's move to the committee reports then. Is that okay?
Well, hold on, we first need to have a vote on the approval of the minutes as corrected. And I made the motion, and I'm sorry, Madam Clerk, was there a second? There was no.
Is this for both?
And this is the minutes for the board meeting on March 11th, the regular board meeting, noting the variation on the vote on item, when we considered items, or SB, item number 10. Just as we discussed under the San Joaquin Hills, those minutes will be approved reflecting your vote on the, regarding SB 760 and 761. So that is the approval of the minutes, item number 1. And we will add item number 2 together with that, since you've expressed your thoughts on that. So I move item number 1 as corrected, and item number 2, approval of the minutes of the special meeting. And is there a second?
Chafee seconds.
We have a second. And with that, I will ask the clerk to please make a roll call vote for us.
Chair Wong?
Yes.
Vice Chair Miller?
Aye.
Director Bartlett?
Yes.
Director Beal?
Aye.
Director Chafee?
Aye.
Director Kelly?
Yes.
Director Khan?
Yes.
Director Lombard?
Yes.
Director Murphy?
Yes.
Director Trevor O'Neill?
Yes.
Director Penaloza?
Yes.
Director Taylor?
Yes.
Director Voigt? Director Wagner?
Aye.
Director Ward?
Aye.
Looping back, Director Voigt? Madam Chair, noting the absence of Director Voigt, the item passes unanimously.
Thank you. Items number 1 and 2 have passed. Item number 3, Director Ward.
Okay. I would like Mr. Chesney to be able to answer some questions on the Joint Strategic Planning Committee report.
Director Ward, I'm here.
Okay. So, Mike, good morning. Number 1 on the committee report was Strategic Department Fiscal Year 2022 Budget Review. And I did listen to the tape. But what I'm questioning is what is planned for the budget. It talked about the fiscal year 2022 budget and major work efforts for the Strategic Planning Department, and the need to make this go to 2 days for a planning workshop at $20,000 a day. And it says the proposed budget will be increased by $20,000 to $40,000. But what I'm wondering is this a full board workshop for the budget, or is it just the Strategic Planning Committee?
Director Ward, I can answer that, and then CEO Johnson, if there's anything to add. This is being planned as a full board retreat workshop. It's something that we're in the planning stages for, and during the discussion at the committee, it was noted that we may potentially need 2 days of a full board participation. And so we increased the budget from 20,000 to 40,000. What we actually spend, we're still planning that out, but we're making sure that we have the budget available for any facilities, catering, materials that we may need, and potentially even a facilitator to work with the entire board.
Yeah, can you explain what a facilitator is? Because I had the question on that when I heard it in the tape. What is a facilitator?
Yeah, so the thought here is to bring in a third-party facilitator that would basically facilitate the meeting on behalf of TCA, working with us to go ahead and make sure after we get the agenda set and working through the various items that we want to present to the board, as well as facilitate a workshop in terms of gaining feedback and looking forward to having dialogue with the board and and having some feedback regarding the strategic plan, moving forward, the various items that we're starting to discuss through the visioning process. This is something that we thought an off-site meeting with the full board, again, with a professional facilitator, basically running these meetings for us would be helpful for the board.
And when do you think that budget workshop's going to occur?
Our initial thought is,
Mr. Chase, so Director Ward, I don't want to give the board the impression that this concept is fully baked. As Mr. Chesney noted, we're in the initial discussions, and when we had that discussion with the Strategic Planning Committee, just the concept, what became clear to staff is we want to ensure we don't shortchange the board in your discussions on what you want in your respective strategic plans for that covers the next 7 years. So this is going to be a very important workshop for the board. So we're just trying to make sure we have some flexibility to give the boards what you need in your deliberations. Through my various, quarterly one-on-ones and monthly one-on-ones I have with every board member, I'm collecting your ideas and thoughts on how do we make sure this is successful. So we're going to take that input and continue discussions with the committee to figure out how do we structure this workshop. And as Mr. Chesney noted, we will look to facilitate or incorporate one or more facilitators to help you in your discussions. So there are people who specialize in helping elected boards work through strategic planning discussions, and that's one of the concepts we've incorporated here.
Okay, so I just want to say one concern. I was just trying to understand it, and I wanted to make sure that the full board is present when we are discussing the budget. And I would like to not see the board separated into different meetings at this where we all are not hearing the same information at the same time. That's just my concern. Going back to some of our public forums, and the public was separated. And I would hate to see the board separated on when we're talking about our budget. So
no, absolutely noted, Director Ward. So your budget discussions right now, we're working through all the weeds. I think I've noted my process on how I like to work with all 24 of my bosses. And I appreciate all of you rolling up your sleeves and getting to the weeds and the details of our budget through your committees. But then we will have our budget workshop the first week in May. Ms. Potter will correct me if I'm remembering the date wrong, but I believe it's May 5th. And that will be your Joint Operations and Finance Committee workshop, which is a committee of the whole. And that's when the entire budget will be presented for your review prior to going to the board for your vote.
okay, thank you.
All right.
I'll move that item.
Item number 3.
Madam Chair, this is Director Miller. I'll second that, but I have a quick question.
Okay, go ahead, Director Miller.
Is this meeting, or these budget workshops going to be held in person? That's something I want
Yes,
in director comments. I was going to ask when we were going to consider going back to in-person meetings.
Definitely the strategic planning or the board or workshops, we are hoping to have that in person, and that's playing into the scheduling role or the scheduling aspect of this. So, and I know you asked this question earlier, Director Ward, we'll probably be looking at end of summer or sometime in the fall, more than likely the fall. We want to make sure we are significantly past the pandemic and provide the board a good opportunity for you all to come together. Because, as part of these workshops, there's a lot of bonding that goes on. You do have 5 brand new board members that are part of TCA. So there's a chance for some relationship building as well. So we are trying to be very comprehensive in giving you, again, as I noted earlier, what you need to be successful.
I appreciate that, Samuel, but you say hopefully in the summer. What are going to be the metrics that you use to determine whether or not we should be in person?
So we will be looking at where I'd say we focus on where Orange County is in terms of the pandemic. And of course, if we have some challenges there, we push the schedule out. But I think my plan, if the board is supportive of it, would be to make sure this is an in-person meeting. So if that means pushing the schedule, we will look to push the schedule. the most important kind of drop dead timeline is we'd really like the boards to have your strategic plans adopted prior to the FY23 budget process beginning. Because that's going to be a key input as to how your budgets are developed going forward.
I understand that. I'm just saying, the supervisors meet in person. My city meets in person. A lot of cities are already back in person. We have the option at OCFA if we choose to be there in person. I do go in person. OCTA gives us an option. I'm just wondering when TCA is going to give the option to show in person if we choose to.
Are you asking overall, Vice Chair Miller, or just for the workshop?
I'm talking about overall. I mean, if we're
overall
going to for the workshop, why wouldn't we meet in person for all of them?
Oh, I would definitely assume that by the time we would have an in-person workshop, that we are probably back to in-person board and committee meetings as well.
Did you say this workshop is going to be in May?
No. So we're looking at late summer, probably fall, more than likely to fall. The key is to have everything, hopefully, in terms of those strategic plans, adopted by the boards by February or March of next year to roll into your FY23 budget planning effort.
So let me get this. We're not going to have a budget workshop this year?
You are having your budget workshop this year, and that's for FY22, which begins this coming July. So that's the process you are in right now. And that budget approval is slated to come to the boards on June 6th, I believe, Ms. Potter? 8th. On June 8th. So we are wrapping that budget up and hopefully gaining the board support to have that. So the workshop that Mr. Chesney is speaking to, that involves your strategic plans, which will then support your budget for FY23, which won't start until July of 22.
So what are we, we're on a fiscal year, so we have to vote on our budget in June, correct?
Correct.
So why would we not have a workshop before that?
You are having your budget workshop in May. So
Right. So are we not having that in person?
That is not planned to be an in-person meeting.
Okay, well, I would just recommend that this agency take a look at changing that, making sure we have the proper procedures in place. You have every other agency in the county doing in-person meetings except for us. And so I would just recommend that we start looking at how we could get there a little bit quicker than waiting till the end of the summer. Thanks, that's all I have.
Mr. Johnson, this is Director Heft, and I would like to weigh in as well. I appreciate Director Muller's comments, and I would say that now we're a year past the virus, the beginning of the virus, and we're seeing things open up everywhere. We're now as a county in the orange tier, and I think we definitely need to take a look at starting to come back to some sort of normalcy. The other boards, the other cities, a lot of them are meeting in person. Our city is meeting in person, and I think it's high time. So I think this is definitely something we should visit sooner than later. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I think we have run off of the agenda here as far as this agenda item, and we are hearing those comments, and I would say that the TCA has been very careful to observe the county and the state guidelines and requirements. And one aspect of that affects us is the spacing that has been required. But we definitely hear your comments and your concerns. My city, Mission Viejo, has not yet resumed in-person council meetings. However, our next meeting will be in person for the council members and staff only. So I think this is a time of transition when we are all carefully weighing all of the requirements and looking to see, we have the new governor's orders, which came out and will be put into place in June, depending on how things go. So I
appreciate the comments, and we will definitely be giving these thoughts consideration. But I would like to have our vote on item number 3. I did see Director Connors' hand up. Director Connors, was your hand up?
Yes, it was, just briefly. Our city is not yet meeting in person, and I appreciate the staff's care in protecting staff and board members and the public during this past year. And you all know that our dais keeps us really shoulder to shoulder. And I think in terms of considering whether we come back to in-person meetings, we might want to consider vaccination status. That's it.
Thank you. And so our action for item number 3, committee reports, is to receive and file. I believe Director Ward
And we have a
moved,
second.
and we have a
Vice Chair
second.
Miller.
All right, so I'll ask the clerk to do a roll call vote for us on item number 3.
Chair Wong?
Yes.
Vice Chair Miller?
Aye.
Director Bartlett?
Yes.
Director Beal?
Yes.
Director Chafee?
Aye.
Director Kelly?
Yes.
Director Kahn?
Yes.
Director Lombard?
Yes.
Director Murphy?
Yes.
Director Trevor O'Neill?
Yes.
Director Penaloza?
Yes.
Director Taylor?
Yes.
Director Boyce? Director Wagner?
Aye.
Director Ward?
Aye.
Looping back, Director Boyce? Madam Chair, noting the absence of Director Boyce, the item passes unanimously. Excuse me.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. We now come to board business, item number 9. And this is, we only have one presentation item on our agenda for today, but it is an important one, and it is related to our daily operations and our ability to collect toll revenue. We're going to ask that this item be presented by Alex Leyva. This is item number 9, Image Review Services. Mr. Leyva?
Good morning, honorable board members. My name is Alex Leyva. I'm the Director of Customer Service. This item is a manual image review contract request. This item was presented to the Joint Toll Operations Committee on March 24th, and the committee unanimously recommended approval of the item. Next slide, please. Currently, when drivers without valid transponder use the toll roads, TCA captures multiple images of a license plate. TCA uses those images to identify the registered owner of a vehicle and collect tolls. The bulk of these images are identified by our automated system. However, more than 450,000 image sets a month require manual image review. Our current contract expires June 30th of 2021, and TCA released the RFP in January. The RFP was downloaded by 10 qualified firms. Next slide, please. Staff conducted a competitive procurement and received one responsive proposal from the incumbent Global Agility Solutions. Staff reached out to the firms that didn't submit proposals to determine why, and the majority of firms responded that there were competing RFPs in the same time frame, and firms prioritized bidding on other opportunities. Other firms responded that they did not provide standalone manual image review services. Instead, they bundle manual image review with other customer service or technology functions. Other firms stated they could not accommodate TCA's volume of images or could not provide a competitive price proposal. One thing I'd like to note is that some of the firms that do bundle manual image review with other services use Global Agility as a subcontractor. Next slide, please. This slide provides a little bit of background on Global Agility Solutions. They were founded in 2013, and TCA has used Global Agility since June of 2016. They're based in Austin, Texas, and currently process more than 1.2 million images per day across their operation. They have a large staff of dedicated reviewers and reviewed more than 6 million image sets for TCA in fiscal year 20. TCA requires that 98% of the results be returned within 24 hours and 100% within 48 hours. The The rapid turnaround time simplifies online toll payments for drivers by enabling customers to easily locate their trip and process their payment. Global Agility is currently providing a high quality of service for TCA and with a very competitive price structure, reducing their already low cost by 3.5% while offering an additional tracking dashboard. Global Agility is currently meeting or exceeding the required accuracy requirements and turnaround times. While other firms have chosen to provide ImageView as an add-on service, Global Agility has made image processing their core business. Staff is confident that Global Agility can continue to provide a high level of service for TCA at a low cost. Next slide, please. I'd like to note on this slide that we have determined that we can utilize actual image sets reviewed for each agency, and the allocation of costs between each agency is reflected here. The recommendation for both boards is to authorize the CEO to award contract K001372 to Global Agility Solutions for a 3-year term with 2 one-year extension options for a not to exceed cost of $341,886 for the San Joaquin Hills Transportation Corridor Agency and a not to exceed cost of $726,507 for the Foothill Eastern Transportation Corridor Agency. Also to authorize the CEO to execute future amendments for up to 10% of the above authorization without further board action, and to authorize the CEO to reallocate aggregate not to exceed cost to each agency as determined annually based on reasonable assumptions. This concludes my presentation, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Leyva. That was a really good report. And I will ask directors to raise their hand if they have any questions. We will discuss this as both boards, and then we will take action separately, one for San Joaquin Hills and one for Foothill Eastern. I do see 2 hands up, so let me go first to Vice Chair Miller and then to Director Taylor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just want to thank staff for all their hard work on this. This came through Toll Ops. We had quite a robust discussion on why so few people are responding to this, and is there something in our RFP that precludes many of these proposed applicants, because quite a few do download them, but we only had one real response. And they were very proactive in going back and finding out what had happened there. And it turns out, and you heard that in the presentation today, that most other agencies use this this group, and that they just can't compete on a cost basis since they're subcontracting with them. So I want to thank the staff for all their hard work, and I'll go ahead and move this for Foothill Eastern.
And I'll wait and take your motion after we address San Joaquin Hills first. Thank you. And I see Director Taylor and then Director Murphy.
Thank you,
Director Taylor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. My question would be, the accuracy, I guess there are 15% misses on the software. And I was wondering, is there any attempt to get the license plate reading software to be more accurate so that $1 million shrinks over time?
Madam Chair, this is Rick Carrier. I'd like to field that question.
Yes, please, Mr. Carrier.
Thank you, Director Taylor. The 15% miss on the automatic license plate recognition software reflects vehicles with no plates, vehicles that have obstructed plates, like someone with a pickup truck and the tailgate's down, or they have a bicycle strapped to the back of the car, along with things like glare. We are very careful about taking care of any image capture problems like out of focus or blurry or anything like that. We have automatic alerts that flag those things. So the majority of items that go over to Global Agility for manual review they're just really bad images, or they are out-of-state plates. We send all of our non-California plates for image review.
Thank you, and I'll ask Mr. Johnson to
add to those comments?
Yeah, so Director Taylor, I think the heart of your question, our response is yes. We are always looking at enhancing our software. The more we can have computers do the work, the more money we save. So we are always looking at tweaking that software, trying to have our automated solutions capture it. And one of the contracts the board approved, I believe 2 or 3 years ago, Mr. Cure can correct me, is we added another level of automation in between our automated system and manual image review. You may recall the discussions, we called it license plate fingerprinting. And that solution and that technology means that if it goes to manual image review, then that picture is captured and fingerprinted. So the next time it is captured automatically. And that's helped us further reduce our costs. So we are trying to be very creative and looking at everything we can to try and keep this cost low.
Thank you very much for that.
Thank you. Director Murphy?
Thanks, Madam Chair. Just a mechanics question for the most part. The 15% that kicks out for whatever reason, the first pass, what happens to those items then? Does it go to a manual process? And do we know what our effective accuracy rate is post the manual process?
Thank you, CEO Johnson.
So the accuracy rate is very high. We do have an audit process that Mr. Leyva can probably speak to, but you may be asking a question in a broader context, Director Murphy, so I want to make sure I try and address that. As Mr. Carrier noted, a lot of those images that we send over, they're bad images, right? So we're not going to get 100% of those images back. But one of the benefits in this contract that you're being asked to approve is we only pay for successful results. So if we send them, if we send them some images which they can't then manually review and give us a license plate for, we don't pay them for that. We only pay them for success. We go. That's how
where the plate wasn't an unclear image, but was just classically misread. The plate didn't even match the plate on the vehicle, which I no longer owned as well. So that's the second question. I'm assuming we don't cross-check with the DMV. We just use our own database for that, correct?
So on the first part of your first question, absolutely, we are very focused on accuracy and making sure we get that plate right and that we send that charge to the appropriate account or the appropriate vehicle owner. I won't claim that we're perfect. That's a challenging job in itself for both computers and the humans, but we really strive for perfection. In terms of when it comes to checking the owner of that license, of that vehicle, if it's not an account with TCA or one of the other tolling agencies, then by law we are required to use the DMV system to check who the registered owner is, and that's who that notice of violation would go to.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. I see the hand of Director Connors, followed by Supervisor Bartlett.
I just want to point out that the recovery of tolls collected from these these images that can't be machine read is really quite radically high, and that this contract is definitely a net income producer for the agency.
Thank you, Director Connors. Supervisor Bartlett.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So question I have is not so much with Global Agility, because I know their job is to read the license plates. But we're hearing that, especially as tolls increase, not just on our toll roads, but across the nation, that people will intentionally go through with either no plate, which is illegal, or a paper plate, which they pull off or they obscure. But we've seen videos of people putting their hands over plates, putting mud on the plates, or just various things. So, and they go through time and time again. I know that we have a CHP contract specifically for overtime, and I know that they tag speeders on the toll roads, but do they also have a program with TCA where they might sit back and look specifically for missing license plates or obscured license plates, and start to take note of kind of repeat offenders? Because literally, if somebody has no license plate and we can't read it, or they obscure it each time it goes through, they could spend a lot of time going through our toll facilities and not paying any tolls. And how do we catch those individuals that might be repeat offenders where they're doing things intentionally like that? I think the CHP program could be a great way to capture those repeat offenders, because it's not going to be caught through Global Agility. We need some other methodology for it. So can you opine on that? Thank you.
Yeah, you're absolutely correct, Director Bartlett. The folks who want to abuse the system, the only effective tool we have to minimize that abuse is CHP. So we work closely with CHP, and that's one of the contracts the board approves. So we have CHP out there on our roads, and they're looking specifically for those things. That's the direction we've given them. We don't need them to look at whether someone has a transponder or not, because as long as that vehicle has a license plate that we can see, then more than likely our computers and our manual image review are going to capture it. It's for those obstructed plates, like you mentioned, and we've heard and seen lots of stories with hands hanging out the back of a hatchback, towels hanging out the back of a truck. Mr. Carrier noted earlier, bike racks and various things that block the plate. And that's where we ask CHP to focus their efforts on identifying those and capturing those individuals and making sure they are paying their tolls.
Okay, so Samuel, do we have any idea of how many of those types of rogue vehicles we're capturing through the CHP?
We do have stats from CHP on the folks they catch, right? But it's definitely only a portion of those that seek to abuse the system. So we try and do the best we can. One of the things we highlight when we talk about the CHP contract is their presence does act as a deterrent, right? So just having them out there, even if they're not catching everyone, it still helps minimize that violation rate for us, which is very important.
Right. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. I do not see any additional hands. So at this time, I'll ask for a motion from San Joaquin Hills, and this is for action items number 1, 2, and 3. Is there a motion?
Connors, I'll move.
Okay, Director Bartlett, second.
Director Connors moved and Director Bartlett second. And I will ask the clerk to please call the roll call vote.
Chair Kelly?
Yes.
Vice Chair Will O'Neill?
Yes.
Director Bartlett?
Yes.
Director Connors?
Yes.
Director Hess?
Yes.
Director Hurt?
Yes.
Director James? Director Khan?
Yes.
Director Minigar?
Aye.
Director Penaloza?
Yes.
Director Reynolds?
Yes.
Director Taylor?
Yes.
Director Victoric?
Aye.
Director Wagner?
Aye.
Looping back, Director Reynolds?
Yes.
Madam Chair, the item passes unanimously.
Thank you. That item passes for San Joaquin Hills. And now we have the 3 recommendations for Foothill Eastern. And I know that Vice Chair Miller would like to make that motion.
That's correct. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Murphy, second.
Motion by Miller, a second by Murphy. And I'll ask the clerk to do a roll call vote for us.
Chair Wong,
Aye.
Vice Chair Miller,
Aye.
Director Bartlett,
Yes.
Director Beal,
Yes.
Director Chafee,
Aye.
Director Kelly,
Yes.
Director Khan,
Yes.
Director Lombard,
Yes.
Director Murphy,
Aye.
Director Trevor O'Neill,
Yes.
Director Penaloza,
Yes.
Director Taylor,
Yes.
Director Voigt, Director Wagner,
Aye.
Director Ward,
Aye.
looping back, Director Voigt. Madam Chair, noting the absence of Director Voigt, the item passes unanimously.
Thank you, Madam Chair. That concludes our new business, and we now are at the public comments part 2, and we do not have any additional public comments, so we will go to the Chief Executive Officer's report. Mr. Johnson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just one item of note for the board. I'd like to introduce Vincent Valdez, who has recently come on board as our new Chief of Toll Operations. Vinny was selected through a very competitive process. I believe we had this recruitment going for approximately 5 months. It was highly competitive. We actually had CEOs and executives from other public agencies and private industry vying to become part of the TCA family, and we are very happy and proud to select Mr. Valdez, and he goes by Vinny, to join our team. Vinny most recently was an executive for Conduit, which is a division of Xerox that was split off, and a key focus of Conduit, that division of Xerox, was in the tolling industry. So Vinny brings a lot of knowledge in working in customer service operations, fleet account services, and violation enforcement and tolling and parking. So he comes with a sound knowledge of the challenging aspects of the work that we do in toll operations. So we're very proud to have him as part of the team. And we do thank Mr. Rick Carrier for his willingness to serve in the interim role for about the last year. So Rick is always great and steps up when needed. But he had his thoughts on the role he wanted to play in supporting TCA. And now with the addition of Mr. Valdez, we have a really strong team and rounded team in toll operations. So I asked Mr. Valdez if he wants to say something briefly.
Thanks, Samuel. Really appreciate that. It's my honor to be with everybody here today. As Samuel was saying, I come to you with 30 years transportation experience, nearly all of it in the private sector, providing service to state and local governments and their constituents. Specialize in operations management, and I look forward to working with everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome, Mr. Valdez, and you are most assuredly welcomed here, and we totally honor and respect Mr. Carrier and the work he's done for the last year, preceded by our own CEO, Samuel Johnson. So you are inheriting a really good department with a great background, and we are very thankful that you've come to us with your expertise. So welcome to you.
Thank you.
Mr. Johnson, anything else?
No, Madam Chair. That concludes my report.
Okay, we now come to director's reports and new business, and I would actually like to ask for reports from 3 individuals here. I will ask Director Heft to provide an update on the meeting that she and CEO Johnson had with Senator Bates.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yes, we met, Samuel Johnson, CEO Johnson and I met with Senator Bates, and it was overall a very good discussion. It lasted over an hour. I think originally we were slated for about 30 to 45 minutes, so I think things went very well. And I did convey the board's concerns regarding the legislation for 760 and 761. and that we really didn't have any thoughts on specific amendments, but that we wanted to engage in a conversation with the senator and just kind of have a meeting with her. We talked about how the board's actions show its commitment to finding a local resolution, and I emphasize the word local, and that we felt that it was much better to have local stakeholders come together than Sacramento making decisions. And one of the things that was obviously brought up was the working group and how that is obviously steps toward a local decision. And the senator seemed to be intrigued by this. She seemed to be willing to give it a chance. And I know that since that time, Chair Wong has been directing this working group, and you have the different cities involved and the different entities, government agencies, and I think that's important because it's not just about one specific area, but a lot of different cities, a lot of different agencies are affected, and it's important that we do come together and try to find some sort of a solution, that benefits as many people as possible. And I'm encouraged by these meetings. I've been hearing that they have been productive, and I think that if we're able to find a local solution, that would be something that would go a long way toward our future. So thank you so much, and that is my report.
Thank you, Director Heft, and thank you for that update and for meeting with the senator. And speaking of the working group, I will now ask Chair Wong to provide an update on the working group that she chairs, and then following Chair Wong, I'll ask Supervisor Bartlett to provide an update on the working group that she has been working with. Chair Wong?
Thank you, Chair Kelly. For the board's action 2 weeks ago, I established the Foothill Eastern South Working Group as a focused and nimble team with equal representation from each of the directly affected stakeholders. I spent a significant amount of time communicating with each of the stakeholders, either telephonically, via email, or both, over a course of several weeks to collect everyone's concerns, their desired outcomes, and pathways to achieve those outcomes. The group had met twice, but unfortunately we did have one participant unable to participate in the work group, even though my invitation remains open. And then we had another participant who was unable to attend those meetings due to scheduling conflicts. Nevertheless, the stakeholders had productive discussions about their concerns, outcomes, and pathways. And I did, despite the absences, I conveyed those participants concerns and outcomes and pathways to ensure that everyone knew where all the stakeholders stand and no one is left out. And as planned, the group spent a considerable time discussing those pathways to success, highlighting the board's commitment to the outcomes of the study that was conducted last March, and reaffirming our commitment to that study and this board's decision that last March. We have continued to focus on the 3 projects that are being led by other agencies and align the mobility needs as cited in those reports. The participants also stressed the importance of using objective measures as the basis of good transportation planning by any regional transportation agency or individual city. And this was the main focus of our discussion, and that we will continue to use those objective measures as our focus. So with that, Chair Kelly, that's the end of my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair Wong. And you've done a great job on this work so far, so thank you for that. And now I'll ask Supervisor Bartlett to give an update on your work as well.
Great. Thank you, Madam Chair. So on a Monday, we had our first, the county-led working group and had a very good dialogue with all the stakeholders. All the parties were represented. And we had a very good discussion. Our focus is kind of going to be a two-part plan, and we were really focused on the two pieces of legislation. We had a great discussion about that. I think we all agree that we want to try to advocate always for local control with local solutions. And to that end, with everyone providing significant input into the process, all of the voices were heard and respected at the table. And we have now, our county council is providing right now a draft and creating a draft co-op agreement that we hope to be able to get reviewed and get final input so that we might be able to get that presented. And if we can get that signed, the goal is to utilize a co-op agreement that everyone is comfortable with and states the various terms that we can move forward with. And that would be in lieu of having the two pieces of legislation. I know that San Clemente is very concerned about various things, as they've stated before, relative to additional roadway systems, et cetera. And we're hoping that through the co-op agreement, there's that level of comfort with all the stakeholders about what is going to take place now and for the foreseeable future, and that we can utilize a co-op agreement basically in lieu of the legislation. So that is one of our first goals for the stakeholder group. And I'll report back as we have additional meetings. Thank you.
Director Bartlett, Tony Beal here. You mentioned a couple times that all the stakeholders were participating. Would you just clarify who are the stakeholders that you're referring to?
Okay, absolutely. So we have myself, we had our county council from the county. We had Director Ward and Director James from San Clemente. We had Kia Mortazavi from OCTA. We had Mike Basalmo and Jeremy Laster from The Ranch, from RMV. We had, Eric Sund, the interim city manager from San Clemente, was also present. And we also had Samuel Johnson, CEO of TCA, Trish Kelly. These were all people that were present. We had Chairwoman Peggy Wine on the phone, as well as Kia. He was on the phone as well.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Madam Chair, this is Director Miller.
Yes, Director Miller.
So I'm confused. There were two reports, so that tells me there are two different subcommittees meeting. Is that correct? Could Chair Wong list who the stakeholders are in her meeting?
Chair Wong.
Sure. So just to make it very clear, Vice Chair Miller, our group is made up of, for the TCA, and that's separate from Supervisor Bartlett's group, and that she's leading on behalf of the county. Our stakeholders included Director Beal from Rancho Santa Margarita, and Director Taylor from San Juan Capistrano, Director Kelly from Mission Viejo, and myself from Yorba Linda. And we also had Director, our CEO, Samuel Johnson, Supervisor Bartlett on behalf of the county, and Director Ward from San Clemente. And they were invited, but we did have two participants that were not present during our meeting.
Okay, so my confusion is this, is that I understood that the TCA-led committee was going to be talking about the legislation and possibly the litigation with San Clemente, but I heard you mention that you were looking at the 3 South County projects. So that's a little concerning to me, and I didn't hear Director Bartlett mention that they're talking about the South County projects. They're talking about solutions in lieu of legislation. So I'm confused. What is the goal of each of these committees? And I was under the impression there was only going to be one. I reached out to Director Bartlett about that and asked that specific question. I wasn't aware of this committee she just mentioned, and she didn't bring it up to me. So what are the goals here? What are we trying to accomplish? Why are they separate? Why is it not one committee doing this? And how well, the stakeholders are a different issue, but I'm just confused on what's happening here.
Well, Vice Chair Miller, the TCA work group was the result of the direction of this particular board.
Right.
And this board gave the direction to find pathways to resolve the legislation and litigation. So that's what we were only concerned about those two subject matters. What I directed to you as to the three county projects that were listed, that was part of the March study that was conducted last year. And so, of course, that is going to be the centerpiece of our discussion, is reaffirming the TCA's commitment to the board's action, as well as the study that was provided last March, and making that, ensuring that the resolution to the litigation and legislation that we will bring forward to the board will continue to reaffirm our positions as directed by this board.
Okay.
And Supervisor Bartlett can speak more about what her plans are for the county's work group. As you can see, our list of stakeholders are a bit different. TCA's stakeholders are focused on the transportation partners who will now join us in the next phase of our discussions, and that will be the OCTA and Caltrans. Those are all our regional transportation partners, but we also included the TCA members, and all the members that are part of that corridor were part of the discussion. I think if you see that Supervisor Bartlett's group has other stakeholders involved, so she can just, highlight her work group from the county's perspective. But our meeting is directed by the decision of this board.
Okay, thank you for that. And for the clarification, I was concerned about, you said you're speaking about those three projects, and I didn't hear Director Bartlett talking about that, and I'll ask her, but I will also point out that Dana Point is part of that southern corridor, and they're not part of that meeting, and that's fine. You made your choices as the chair, and I understand we don't actually touch the 241, but we are on the other side of the 5 as well. Director Bartlett, I'm a little concerned about the text conversation we had. I asked specifically about this, and you didn't tell me this was what was going on. And what I heard is that you're talking about legislative solutions, not these other projects. Why are we having separate legislative solution discussions on this? I'm confused on why everybody's doing that.
Right. So Director Miller, to provide some clarity, at the board meeting where I suggested we had a stakeholder working group, I was very clear in my discussion that I felt it was best to have a county-led stakeholder working group. And I knew the particular stakeholders that needed to be present, because when you're talking about, and it absolutely engages the three projects, the LPPE, the Ortega widening, and the PICO continuation down to the county line. So it absolutely incorporates all three projects, but we're also touching on the legislation, the two pieces of legislation that are pending, as well as the aspects of the litigation. I mean, it's never good for an agency to be in litigation with one of its member cities. And then with regard to the legislation, if we can get to a cooperative agreement in lieu of legislation, then that is a better solution for all parties. And the reason we have OCTA and Rancho Mission Viejo involved is because they are key stakeholders in that if you take a look at the footprint for the projects, you've got Rancho Mission Viejo, and the LPPE project is going right through their development footprint in Planning Area 5. And OCTA has projects relative to LPPE, Ortega widening, and the PICO to the county line. Everything is tied together because those 3 projects are what we need for the long-term foreseeability for regional mobility in South County. And it's important for all the stakeholders to feel comfortable that those are the 3 projects. We may have some arterial improvements by OCTA, but those are the 3 significant projects for the long term. And if we can get to a point with a cooperative agreement in lieu of the legislation, and if we can work through the details on basically getting all parties to settle out of the litigation, we're going to all be in a much better position, not only as an agency, but for all of the stakeholders involved. But it's important for the stakeholders to provide their input into the process so that all of the other stakeholders understand that there's no end run that anybody's doing around anybody else. We're working in a specific footprint. And I suggested at my stakeholder working group that as we move forward, hopefully we can get the legislation issues behind us and have a cooperative agreement, but that it might be appropriate. And I know we have a lot of different ad hocs, but from my perspective, coming from the county position, I think as we move forward, especially talking about the 3 projects, that we may have a corridor, a mini corridor cities working group that we may want to put together. And the county would be happy to lead that, which would be the cities that are right in the direct impact of the 3 projects for South County mobility, which would be Mission Viejo, San Juan Capistrano, Dana Point, and San Clemente, because those cities are right in the immediate impact when you talk about those 3 projects. So we had some great discussions, but I think both groups are talking about the 3 projects for long-term regional mobility, maybe approaching things in different ways. And there's a lot of crossover. But at the end of the day, we're there to all work on the same goals and objectives, to work on the 3 projects, to get everyone's input into the process, to have something in lieu of the legislation, to settle out on the litigation. And I think everyone's got that cooperative spirit to make things happen. We're just working at it kind of from different angles. But I see things sort of converging perhaps in the future, and all of the stakeholders continuing to work together until we get things finalized.
Thanks for that clarification. You understand my concern is that I didn't hear you speaking about those projects. I was aware of your group, and when I asked you specifically about it, you led me to believe that it didn't exist. So I'm glad it's going in the right direction. I was a little concerned about it, but thanks for the clarification.
Thank you. I'm going to ask Chair Wong to weigh in, and then I'd like to ask CEO Johnson to add to the discussion. Thank you, Chair Wong.
Thank you, Chair Kelly. Director Miller, I do also want to know for the rest of the board, as well as Vice Chair Miller, that the other stress point for the TCA that is separate from the working group would be that the TCA's work group also has an important element of discussing ways to resolve the litigation, because the litigation, the lawsuit between San Clemente and TCA only involved TCA, Caltrans, and the environmental group. San Clemente did not include the county or OCTA in its lawsuit. So we need to resolve and discuss ways that we can resolve and offer to San Clemente from the TCA's agency that the county would not be able to be participants in that discussion because they're not interested party or party to the action. And so there is a clear distinction between the 2 groups in what they can resolve. Definitely on the county side, they would not be able to resolve that litigation because they're not parties to the action. And our work group at TCA do and will include those parties to those actions in its discussion as we move forward. So I wanted to show that a very clear and distinct work groups and their purposes. Of course, at the end, we hope to have come together and have a clear path forward, but we do have very distinct and separate goals.
Thank you. And now I'm going to ask CEO Johnson to add some comments.
No, thank you, Madam Chair. And Director Miller, I appreciate your questions, and I think staff definitely, in addition to all the board members, appreciate the efforts by Chair Wong and Director Bartlett to try and help us all find a resolution, as was mentioned several times, a local resolution to get this behind us and fully in the rearview mirror. I think I kind of step back and look at the high points of this. We all know that team dynamics can be very interesting, and making sure that folks are comfortable and confident in sharing their voices is important. So, I think Chair Wong and Director Bartlett are doing their best to make sure everyone's voice is heard. I think the key things for me is the alignment. The discussions that are happening in both groups in terms of solutions are very similar. I think there's a path forward. I think this aspect of holding true, as the board has always said, to the outcomes of the studies that were concluded in March of 2020, that's been highlighted several times, and that the boards got to that conclusion based on objective data, which is very important. And both groups have cited that that's what we need to focus on going forward. So I try not to get hung up in the tools that we would be used. I know there's discussion of resolutions, policies, co-ops. I think the thing that's most important is that everyone's aligned on the approach to get to those outcomes. And I am hearing a lot of similarities there. I think there are some opportunities to bring the groups together, but in their respective roles. As Chair Wong noted, we don't want to have discussions around litigation with parties who are not part of that litigation, but there are also those 3 projects that have been noted are very key, and those aren't being led by TCA. So we want to be supportive, but that's not our role to get in the way of those projects. So I think there's some very positive notes, and the terminology I've been using is there are some common threads that everyone can pull on together versus pulling on opposite ends, and I think that's starting to show true. So if we can continue these conversations and focus on how do we move forward, I think that will help us build that trust that's needed to get to this conclusion. And I think that can happen very quickly if folks are willing to make it happen quickly.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. I think that was a good summary. Thank you. And
Chair Kelly, this is Director Ward. Can I make a comment?
Yes, go ahead, Director Ward.
All right. So I would just mention quickly, I have 2 items, but quickly the discussion of these working groups. San Clemente isn't able to participate in TCA's working group because we have a subcommittee that requires Mayor Pro Tem James to be in on all discussions of settlement with me, and that couldn't be accommodated. So we aren't in that discussion, but I do appreciate the work that they're doing in that. I would say that as far as meeting in the county working group, I think San Clemente is quite willing to discuss conceptually issues of litigation or possible solutions without discussing anything that's confidential. So I would just discuss our willingness to participate in that. My second comment would be that I would like to notify the board that San Clemente sent a letter to Samuel Johnson, CEO, last night. It was also directed to the chairs and the vice chairs. The letter says, "Dear CEO Samuel Johnson, the City of San Clemente City Council voted at its April 6th meeting to initiate the process of the City of San Clemente withdrawing from the TCA Transportation Corridor Agency. For your reference, I've included 2 links to the relevant agenda reports that our City Council voted on. I respectfully make this request that at the next regularly scheduled meeting of the Foothill Eastern San Joaquin Hills boards, the following be agendized for board consideration. Number 1, approve a waiver of the 120-day advance notice for San Clemente's withdrawal from the TCAs. Number 2, confirm that the TCA has no financial commitment secured by the city's collection of TCA fees." And I make that request for the next agendized board meeting.
Thank you, Director Ward, and your comments are noted. CEO Johnson?
Madam Chair, yes, Director Ward, I am in receipt of your letter and your request to have these items agendized will happen in accordance with the board's policy. I will say I was a little bit disheartened when I read the letter after what I consider to be very positive discussions in both the working groups that Chair Wong and Director Bartlett spoke to. I feel like we're on a good path and working cooperatively. So I was a little disheartened, but I fully respect the city's thoughts and what you'd like to have discussed, and staff will do its part in accordance with the board's policies.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson.
Thank you. I have just one final comment. If there are there any other directors who have comments at this time? Thank you. Then I just wanted to note that tomorrow, April 9th, will mark the 1-year anniversary of our CEO, Samuel Johnson.
Am I going to make it?
He wants to know if he's going to make it. I was actually surprised when I looked at the calendar and noted that it is only 1 year, because it's been such a crazy and busy year that it seems like he's been our CEO for a long, long time. And it has been a long year. And I remember when we appointed him and hired him as the new CEO, I stated that I knew he was going to hit the ground running, and I had full confidence at that point. And indeed, he hit the ground running. He hasn't stopped running. And we're very grateful to you, Mr. Johnson, and for your service. And again, we're very fortunate to have been able to have you step into that position.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair.
And happy anniversary.
Thank you.
All appreciate it. Okay, this now brings us to closed session. I'll ask Mr. Joseph if we have any items for closed session.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. Closed session will be for the Foothill Eastern Agency only, and it will be a conference with legal counsel regarding existing litigation under Government Code 54956.9, subdivisions A and D1, regarding 2 items: the Reserve Maintenance Corporation versus Foothill Eastern TCA and City of San Clemente versus Foothill Eastern TCA. We do not anticipate reportable action.
Thank you. Then we will recess to closed session and be back for adjournment following closed session.
Closed session is Foothill only.
And closed session is Foothill only. So I'll ask our techie powers that be to move us into the appropriate members into closed session. Thank you.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Thank you. We have returned from closed session, and I will ask our Mr. Joseph, General Counsel, if we have any report from closed session.
Nothing to report, Madam Chair.
Okay, we have no reportable action from closed session. We now come to adjournment. The next regularly scheduled meeting of the San Joaquin Hills Transportation Corridor Agency Board of Directors and the Foothill Eastern Transportation Corridor Agency Board of Directors will be held on May 13th at 9:30 a.m. The meeting is adjourned. Thank you all.
That's everyone.